My last bit of caffeine.
Hey, welcome everybody. You notice I'm not alone today in Morning Moments. I have a acquaintance and a friend of mine that I've known for a number of years, Jeff Justice, and he's my special guest today. And Jeff Justice is from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to ask Jeff, tell us how we met and how you're connected with the world of comedy.
So if I'm your special guest today, does that mean you have some not so special guests too?
Yeah, we try not to mention them because,
Okay.
it's
I don't want to make them feel bad.
yeah.
Well, great. Yeah. Basically, you sent me money. I made you funny. That's my slogan, right? Yeah, we met when you decided to take that leap and take the comedy class, what, about 5, 6 years ago? And it's always an amazing ride for people, like you that go and take it. A lot of them just thinking, hey, what's this going to be like? And then next thing you know, you performed for like 5 years in comedy clubs, didn't you?
Yeah. Yes. There was a 5-year period where I had 60 to 70 gigs, and I even said some of them were paid, most of them weren't. A lot of open mics and a lot of traveling and just getting stage time. That's what you had to do.
Well, that's what we did up in New York. When I moved up in New York in the beginning, I went to the comic strip and the Comedy Cellar, which you see on TV a lot. And I think in Atlanta, when I did the Excelsior Mill here, you got $10, a slice of pizza, and all the beer you could drink. And when I went to Atlanta, there was no pizza and no beer. And it was $7. So they called it cab fare. But you went night after night after night to all these different clubs, and you waited until like sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning to get on. There was still like people half awake there. Hey, funny. So believe me, like you, I bombed a lot. I mean, that's how most people learn comedy. And that's why when I started the comedy workshop, I said, the problem is there's a lot of rules to comedy. There's a lot of things that people could not be doing that would help them get laughter. And when I put together the class, that's what was my goal. And I think I've achieved it. Basically, for most people, it takes about 2 to 3 years off the learning curve of if they want to become a comedian. Because they're not just going in with, like I did, with no idea, trying to joke, did work, and having no idea why it didn't.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I was chatting with you before we started the recording is that many of the things that I learned in your workshop was what I call transferable knowledge. It was as an educator, I'm a clinical education consultant. And with that, there's some of those points that's transfers into what I do today in my education and training with nurses and doctors. And that's some valuable pieces of information. And your workshop really, there's more than just standing up as a stand-up comedian. You really give us a fine tuning on communication as well.
Well, I would think that about 95% of the people that take the class never become a stand-up comedian. That's not what their goal is. It's more like you. Mm-hmm. How can I be a better presenter? You're a teacher. Now you're using humor. We were just talking about how you used a callback, right? With one of your last classes.
Yes.
And it's amazing. With the Georgia Speakers Association, probably 15 out of the top 20 speakers at Georgia Speakers are graduates of my class. And because they're lifetime learners, they want to get better at it. But I think most people that take my class, it was a one-night experience. Oh my God, they got to go up there. Their friends and family were in the audience. They got to be a professional comedian for the night. They had a professional routine that we helped them with. And then they go back to their lives. Yeah. And they got a videotape that says, oh yeah, bring out that video of the last time I did a comedy show. It's the only time they did a comedy show, but people put it on their resume, and it's amazing. It gets them asked back all the time because people are blown away that they performed at the Punchline.
Yes. And those friends that I connected with when we took our workshop together, I'm still connected with a lot of them.
I love that.
And it's amazing because that's a chapter in our life we went through together. And it really was, and some of those friends I went through your comedy workshop with, we grudged through a lot of those open mics through Atlanta together too.
Yeah. And that happens a lot. A class either sticks together and they all follow each other and show up for their open mic nights and stuff like that, or they just all go their separate ways.
Now, are you doing your workshop currently? How are you doing it
Oh,
with
yeah.
COVID? So,
So it was interesting. When COVID first hit, I had a sold out class, which I usually do, about 20 people. And I decided to try to take it online, which I thought was going to really kind of bite it, And it turned out to be great. Unfortunately, about 10 of the people said, no, I really want the live experience. So I did the class online and we graduated them in August. And then this class that's on now, I gave people the option. I said, I'm going to do it live on Monday nights, the Punchline, and on Zoom Tuesday nights. So we had about 12 people take it at the Punchline and about 6 or 7 that take it online. But now we'll all come together and do the graduation. It's the 5th of October, which is actually already sold out. But you can get tickets on Zoom to see it. I think they have $20 tickets there. So my next one's scheduled for January. And I'm trying to, hopefully things will calm down a little bit, because that's what I was saying 6 months ago, right?
yes.
And it just got worse. So I would do the same thing probably. I'll offer people to do it online or live.
I think COVID is helping us, redirecting us how to do life differently.
Oh, yeah.
And I think comedy is the same thing. There is an avenue and a platform in videos and social media that I don't think was reached before. And I think the comedy industry is reaching out because they have to, do it.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll be quite honest with you. We're not having a lot of fun doing it. I've done quite a few corporate presentations because my keynotes are about using humor to deal with stress in the workplace. And I also had a program I did a few years ago called Home Alone with Humor. And this was before COVID, obviously. So I've had quite a few people book me in to do Zoom programs for their whole staff. But I gotta tell you, it's not the same. You do one of your best jokes and a few people go.
You don't get that immediate response because, and I told a joke in one of my classes, was it this morning or yesterday, and one of the nurses said, I was laughing, you just didn't hear me. And so you don't get that. I know you told us in our class one time is to, when you tell a joke and everybody laughs, wait till the laughter dies down before you say your next line.
Exactly.
Well, there's no laughter to die down when you teach in virtual. You can't tell people laughing.
Exactly.
So that's really tough, isn't it?
I've tried doing things, telling people just to applaud, so at least I can see their hands clapping together, or thumbs up or something.
Yeah.
But it's not the same feeling.
You
do a big joke and you get.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to one of your graduates, a good friend of mine, Dwayne Jackson. I had him a couple of weeks ago on Morning Moments guest star.
Super guy.
A super guy. And he was telling me that he had to repurpose and reinvent himself doing videos with hip hop and things like that. And it's working for him. And sometimes when life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade out of it. You got to figure out how to do it.
And I think it's a much better avenue for music than it is for comedy.
Yes, it really is. Yep. Yeah. So you got your workshop going, and you still are being hired out to be a comedian corporately, right?
Online. So I'm trying to avoid it, but I have some, past clients, it's like, please come on in. I'm like, I really don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay. But I'm enjoying teaching the class, both live and online.
Good.
And also, a lot of people don't realize I do continuing education for court reporters.
Good.
So
Good.
I'm actually flying out tomorrow to Houston to videotape a 10-hour seminar that we'll do live. And tell you how that's changed. I used to go there and we'd have between 150 and 200 people in the audience. Tomorrow, there's 6.
Yeah.
And one of them just told me they couldn't make it. Yeah, so I'm down to 5.
It's a different world.
But I'm videotaping it, and then I'll sell it for years and years online as education.
Good. Again, repurposing and what we do. That's what we have to rethink things here.
Yeah.
So great. You're in the Atlanta area, but I noticed that there's a lot of other comedy workshops across America. And whoever's watching this and wherever you're at, I would also encourage you to look in your local area, because I think that that it takes great courage. And let me tell you, I stood up there in the Punchline Comedy Club. It takes great courage to stand there. And I've told people I've been in public speaking for 40 years. And the hardest thing I ever have done is stand up, tell a joke, and nobody laugh. I'm telling you.
Oh boy, it takes the air right out of you, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But I'm glad I did it because it takes courage to do that. So
I had a professional newscaster here in Atlanta who would do like the, the fun events and stuff on the news every day. And she took the class because she filmed it every week going through the whole process. And at the end, she said, I have walked on the wing of a flying airplane. I have done the trapeze in the FSU flying circus. And still the most nervous I've ever been in my life was walking out on stage to the Punchline.
yes,
So
absolutely.
I empathize with you. But, the thing is when I let you go out on stage there, you've got it down. Your jokes are funny.
Yeah.
You've got it memorized. You're ready to go. You're as well prepared as possible, which is, to me, the disaster when people go and do like an open mic night and they've never done comedy. They have no training and they're a funny person, but they don't know how to rearrange stuff for a comedy club as opposed to their friends. And they go and do the same stuff they do with their friends and it dies. And they could have been really funny if they knew a few simple things.
I've often said you haven't lived until you've done a comedy routine in assisted living and be heckled by a 92-year-old in a wheelchair. That's been an adventure, let me tell you. So,
we were talking about that before. I did a nursing home one time and I realized how many jokes that I have in my corporate show that are about dying. Like how like when you're doing a joke and all of a sudden it goes through your brain and going, oh my God, this is like totally inappropriate for this audience. Take it out now. And I didn't have any choice and I put them in it. They thought they were hilarious.
yes.
I'm like, really?
Yeah.
He's about you dying and you're next to death. Yeah, it's great.
I walked out of a gig in Canton, Georgia one time in assisted living, and I had an old guy with oxygen with a Hawaiian shirt look at me and say, you're about as funny as a chap bottom. What? So I thought he needed his Depends changed or something,
So did you step on his hose while you walked by?
Yeah. How do you like this? Is this funny? Yeah. So.
There you go, Gramps.
There we go. All right. Well, it's good to see that you're doing well in this whole environment and you're still doing what you need to do in the comedy workshop. I want to tell you how much I appreciate going through your workshop when I lived in Atlanta. And if you're in Atlanta, Georgia, and you want the experience of your lifetime, join Jeff Justice stand-up comedy. And I'm telling you, it really made a big difference in how I looked at things. And even if you don't plan on to being a full-time stand-up comedian, it's a great adventure. It's a great thing to check off your bucket list, let me tell you.
And you know what? Learning how to laugh at yourself is one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself as far as a stress reducer and having a better life. And I've had so many students come back and say, I never did stand-up comedy after that, but all those things that used to bother me, they don't anymore.
Yeah. Absolutely. It
puts things therapists sending the patients to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you, as a psychiatric nurse, I'd send people to you too. I'll tell you.
Sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Get them laughing.
All right. Well, my friend,
if anybody's looking for me in Atlanta about the comedy class, basically, if you just Google either comedy classes Atlanta, Jeff Justice Atlanta, stand-up comedy classes Atlanta, you cannot not find me. Okay?
Yeah. You're well found in Google. If you Google you're well found. I do appreciate you taking time. You're a busy man, flying everywhere, and a lot of things to do. And I do appreciate you taking the time to join me for this recording. And I wish you the best. And let's keep in contact. And thank you for joining me, Jeff, for Morning Moments.
My pleasure.
And thank all of you for clicking on. If you've enjoyed this session, share it with somebody else, and keep me in mind and on Morning Moments, and keep positive in this time of negative world and a negative experience. And thank you again for joining me for Morning Moments.